we are here. I want to just first start off by saying please do not try what you just saw at home unless you are willing to line your entire bathroom with towels, because things will get wet. So today, as the title of this video suggests, we are doing a get unready with me. We are going to get unready. All of this tired makeup, if you can even see it, which I put on at 8 o'clock this morning, and it's now 8:39 p.m. So that it's been a long day of wearing this makeup. My eyes are watering, my eyelashes are starting to stick together. Oh, I worked out, so it's just ready to come off. And I don't know, when I was younger, I used to absolutely hate this whole nighttime routine thing. I loathed the idea of having to like drag my ass into the bathroom and like brush my teeth and wash my face at the end of a long day. So I would just go to bed with my makeup on. And I mean, I don't wear a lot of makeup, and I didn't wear a lot of makeup then. I probably wear more makeup now than I did, but still, just mascara and blush and like whatever sunscreen and skincare you have on your face, plus all of the detritus that your skin just collects from being outside and in your house. Ugh, I would just go to bed and all of that would just probably rub off on my clean pillowcases. Gross. But I think we've all been there. But you know, since I really started to kind of get into the like clean green beauty space, maybe about 6 years ago now, I can't remember exactly how long, and I guess I just started to get introduced to more products and brands who were really in line with kind of my own general ethos, and I think discovering brands like that, because I guess before I didn't really have any exposure to them, so once I knew that they were there and I started to learn more about them, I just got excited to kind of create this self-care routine. It is so nice. It becomes ritualistic. I do have very much of a ritual now. It's nice. Is there really anything better than at the end of a long day just pressing a hot cloth to your face and slathering yourself in all of your favorite creams and lotions? No, there's not, in my humble opinion. So that's what we're going to do today. As part of my ritual at night, doesn't matter what time of night or early morning it happens to be, I will do this routine in whatever iteration of skincare I currently have in my rotation. I will do this routine without fail. It doesn't just involve skincare, it involves lighting some Palo Santo, because who doesn't love the smell of this? Ooh, I do. And not even necessarily for like a cleansing ritual, just because it smells good and the smoke is pretty. So I put that away, and typically I throw on the Ariana Grande album of the week. But obviously tonight we're not going to do that because copyright. Don't feel like paying for it. Sorry, Ari. So lucky you guys get to come along on this journey with me tonight. And journey it will be, because not only are we going to go through my evening skincare routine, we're also going to talk about some pandemic feelings. So if that doesn't sound like something you're interested in, you can hit the road, Jack. Because we're in for another long video, I hate to tell you. Also, before we really dive in, I would just like to apologize again for the weird lighting quality. The light will probably go in and out. I have my camera on auto adjust, and I'm in a basement bathroom, which is vanity lighting. So it's not going to be spectacular. Sorry, not a pro here. But I promise you, in a couple of weeks, I did get a softbox, and hopefully with my next, kind of sit down video, things will look a little better. Fingers crossed. So I'm just going to insert the lineup of the products that I'm going to be using. And I think with only 2 exceptions out of this lineup, I love everything. I like to try a lot of skincare. That's kind of the only thing in life that I'm extremely adventurous about, is just new skincare. And one of my favorite shops, which I'll link in the description box down below, has been this gold mine of discovering new products in the last year for me. It's definitely become kind of my hero shop. Love them so much, and I believe they are Canadian. I think they're based out of Montreal. So yeah, with the exception of 2 products here, one which I'm just not crazy about because it just didn't perform exceptionally, and in relation to the price point, like if you're gonna have a high price point, it's gotta be good product, right? Like it's gotta do the job really, really well. And the other item is a brand new product in my lineup, so tonight will kind of act as a first impression. And I also saved an empty. You can see that. This is the was the Pi Skincare Light Work Rosehip Cleansing Oil. I literally just finished this last night and then cleaned it all out to get it ready for proper recycling. 15 out of 10 on that product. I've had that for a while and have been using it for a very long time because it's 145 milliliters. You really only need a little bit of product, so it lasts forever. And I love, love, love a cleansing oil, especially in a dual cleanse at nighttime, but also for a morning cleanse when you just kind of need a refresh. And I just wanted to share that because if you are looking for a cleansing oil, I highly recommend that specific one, and the Detox Market carries it. It's in its new branding with its new name, and I believe they've added 5 milliliters to that specific size, so you're getting a little bit more product. Will repurchase. Anywho, let's dive into tonight's skincare routine. And aside from my dance party to kick things off, which we can do, I throw my hair up in a bun just to get it off my face, which I already did because this is the same hair I had in earlier from my workout. And then I grab my cloth off the rack because I am a person who washes their face with a cloth. That doesn't seem to be a common thing now. Do people just wash their face with their hands? Nothing wrong with that, but I love me a face cloth. And then I grab the first product in my dual cleanse, which tonight is the new product in rotation. It is the Holifrog Kiss-Me Vitamin F Therapy Balmy Wash, which is so brand new. It's still got the little metal tab on it. Now, I've got some beef with this product and I haven't even used it. So it's not necessarily about the product quality itself, but I bought this product with a companion, like specifically as a nighttime duo. And as a dual cleanse nighttime duo. So like this is step 1 and the other product is step 2 in the dual cleanse. Now, when I buy a product that is going to act as step 1 in a dual cleanse, I expect that product to be the product that gets rid of and breaks down all of my makeup, including my eye makeup. Like I would expect of any sort of balm, wash, or oil cleanse. This product, however, in the warning instructions says avoid contact with eyes. And when things say that, I never know if that means like avoid contact with your eyeballs or just your eye area. I'm going to exercise caution and assume it means eye area, but that pisses me off because that means that I actually have to add a step. I have to go in with a makeup remover to get rid of my mascara and my eyeliner, because otherwise I'm just gonna have my eye makeup intact and the rest is gonna be washed, and that's not what I want from a nighttime cleanse. Fortunately, I have an open makeup remover on hand, but I wanted to mention that because that just irks me. And this product specifically is sold separately, is sold on its own. You don't have to use it at night. You can use it whenever. It's not specifically a nighttime product, but I'm annoyed because I bought it as a dual cleanse product that was specifically marketed for nighttime. Just not for your eyes. Anyways, my makeup remover is by Wildcraft, which is a brand local to Toronto, small indie brand. Love, love, love them so much. I don't think I've ever used a Wildcraft product that I didn't like. And they're also at a really reasonable price point. So very friendly to our currently sad wallets. So yeah, again, because of the annoying Holifrog issue, I am going to sprinkle a whole bunch of this makeup remover onto a cotton round. And yes, I know that this is a disposable round. That disappoints me as much as it would anybody who cares about sustainability. I'm only using these until I run out, and then I do have reusable ones that will come into rotation. And I'm sure that I could also use this product with my fingers, but until then, the disposable rounds it is. So I'm just gonna start to talk as we do this. I'm gonna go around the periphery of my face and just get rid of that stuff. And it does a great job, like, look at that. And I'm probably gonna have to use multiple rounds here. So how are you guys feeling? I'm feeling some kind of way right now, personally. I'm filming this on February 25th. It's a Thursday, which is a few days earlier. This is gonna start to get real cute. It's a few days earlier than I normally would have filmed, but I have an MRI on Saturday, and just knowing myself and how much of a mood I'm gonna be in following that, well, before and after that, I just wanted to get this over with sooner than later so that I can just give myself a little bit of space come the weekend. I don't do well with hospital visits for all kinds of reasons, but MRIs are not fun. But aside from the whole hospital issue, I'm just, again, like I said, feeling some kind of way. You know, here in Ontario, we're just shy of a year. How's that looking? I gotta lean in. Almost all of that is off. I know I'm like really rubbing, but I want to give myself an opportunity to talk. And it is what it is, guys. It is what it is, you know? So here in Ontario, we're just shy of a year, or rather, we're just coming up on a year of being in all of these various states and stages of lockdown, which is a lot. I know that's also not unique. Everybody is going through that, but I've had about a fuck enough. And I think everybody has, and I've had enough of a lot of things. But the primary thing that I've had enough of, which is what I'm going to talk about today, is just, it's something that's just a little bit difficult to talk about because the specific feelings and thoughts that I have are, I think I'm in the minority with those feelings and thoughts. Oh man, I have so much mascara on. It does not want to come off. So I think I'm in the minority with some of those feelings, or at least specifically in the minority amongst my personal, social, and professional spheres. And I guess just to back it up, I'm going to put this away and I'm going to open up the Holifrog. Just to back it up and provide some context for what I've had enough of, I just want to come right out and say, quite frankly, that I do not want to go back to normal. At all. In my opinion, there is no going back to the way that things were, to the way that the world was before this pandemic on so many fronts. But before I get into that specifically, I'm going to squeeze some of this balmy wash, which all of the oil is squeezing out of that first PS. So I just took, can you see that? I just took a teeny tiny bit, and I'm going to massage that between my hands, and then, oh, it turns into like all oil, which, hooray. Ooh, it feels really nice on the skin, so I'm just going to spend some time rubbing that into my face and just kind of trying to pick up the rest of my makeup. Should we just try to put it on my eyes? We're doing it. So much of what is wrong with the world, I think, was brought to the surface in 2020, was exposed, was really brought to the mainstream forefront. And like, lots of us knew about all of what was going on, and we're very tuned into all of this stuff, and have been outspoken or angry about all of this nonsense forever. But I think 2020 really made a lot of that shit obvious to the general public. Like, one major example of that is the absolute horrifying tragedy that is the long-term care homes. And again, I think some people or most people were aware of that, but once the pandemic hit and, you know, stuff started to go wrong inside of these long-term care homes, it was game over. Like, it was all over the news. People knew. They were fully exposed for all of the cracks and bruises and the fucking broken system. I'm just gonna wash this off. Honestly, aside from still having some mascara on my eyes, which is just my fault because I'm distracted and I wasn't really massaging them and getting close enough to the mirror, I think just those two products on average would do it for me, would do that cleanse. My skin feels really delightful, but I do have one more product to use and I'm desperate to just use it up. So I'm going to show that to you and then I'll try to keep talking and not have lost my train of thought. This is the Alpine Beauty Plant Genius Creamy Bubbling Cleanser. It's got this really delicious pale pink color to it. And the way that this brand markets themselves and the way that they package their products just really spoke to me on all levels. The ingredients all sound great, but this is the second product by them that I've tried and it just doesn't do anything for me. I just don't think that this performs the way that I would want it to at that price point. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my personal ideal. So I'm taking quite a bit of that and rubbing it into my skin, and it smells great and it feels great. Just gonna add a little bit of water to get it all foamy, but it's just not anything special. What I was saying is that the issues that were exposed in 2020 happened on both the macrocosmic and the microcosmic level, and I firmly believe that when normal life resumes, whenever that is, we can't just move on with this like forgive and forget attitude, you know? Okay, this is nice and foamy, and with this one I am avoiding my eyes because it is a foamy product with some actives in it, so just trying to be careful around that, but I'm really getting in there. Okay, a couple more pumps closer to being finished that product and then I can turf it and move on to something hopefully better, the duo to that Holifrog product. Now, I don't want to sit here and keep talking with my face just drying out, so I'm going to move on to my next product, which I was pleasantly and unfortunately surprised by, and unfortunately only because it is quite expensive. So I got this as a sample in one of my orders this year, and I liked it so much that I bought the full size. So this is the Fit Glow Beauty Night Essence. And I just give it a shake, spray it into my hands, and then press it into my skin. I really notice a difference with this when I wake up in the morning. And it's something that I noticed almost instantly, like the first night that I used it, the next morning I legitimately did notice a difference in my skin. I'm just adding some more because I'm talking too much and my face is drying out. And then I'm going to go straight into my next product again so that my face doesn't dry out. And this is my moisturizer, and this is relatively new. This is Apis Apotheca And this is their honey mallow replenishing nectar whip. And I'm going to give you a little like inside product shot too, because it is delicious. It smells like beeswax, so not a vegan product, but that doesn't bother me. Beeswax doesn't. And they tell you to use a pea size amount. I use more like a bean size amount. And it is so wonderful. It feels so good and so rich, and I like to go to bed slicked back. Like I go to bed basically wet. But I love this. It smells so good. It feels amazing. This is a product that you want to put on damp skin, otherwise it will literally like drag across your skin if it's too dry, and it is stickier if you don't apply it to damp skin. So that's why I kind of rushed through that. Now that that's on, I'm just gonna stand here and continue talking. Like, look how shiny I am. But it's just wonderful, though. I don't care. It makes my skin feel so good. It makes me feel good and like wrapped in this delicious cocoon of honey and beeswax. I just love it. And like maybe it doesn't have beeswax in it. I don't know. I don't have the ingredients in front of me, but that's what it smells like. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, we can't just turn our backs on everything that happened in the last year and just move forward with this, or move on rather, with this forgive and forget attitude. We just can't. Like what I'm hoping for is that everything that happened during, you know, the pandemic season, if that's what you want to call it. Oh boy, my camera died again. Big surprise there. That seems to be the running theme of my my videos. And watching yourself back is just absolutely tragic. My eyes are so red. My circles under my eyes are so deep and dark. I just look like a real treat, but real girl shit. So what I was saying is that I just really want what happened in 2020, or I'm hoping that what happened in 2020 woke people up enough to kind of spur them into real long-term sustainable action, so that we can start to hold all of the like bad actors, not just locally, but kind of globally accountable. I think because if we just move on and shove all of this trauma into a tiny little box in the back of our brains, we're just destined to keep repeating these same mistakes over and over again. High history. We're not going to learn from anything. Nothing is going to change. And again, this is everything from, you know, the treatment of our elders to the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement to literally our government using the guise of the pandemic and the distraction of the pandemic as a cover to like pander to their wealthy investors who have no interest in anything other than getting rich. So, you know, not only are our people in crisis, but our land is in crisis. And like with a blink of an eye, green space is being bought up and paved over. And like, if you're in Ontario like me, please just go look at how many MZOs, which are ministerial zoning orders, were pushed through last year specifically for the purpose of like purchasing up green space to pave over and build developments or like new industrial complexes. So, you know, the governments like to do all of this stuff and assure us that it's in our best interest and it's all for economic recovery. I'm a firm believer that if economic recovery is not also green and just, then it's not a recovery. It's just a band-aid for a wound that will end up festering to the point where you need to cut that limb off. And that is just not something that anybody can afford right now. It might sound hyperbolic, but honestly, we are in a crisis on every single level right now. So yeah, I don't want things to go back to fucking normal in that respect. I don't want anyone to forget about the ugly foundation of our society that was exposed, or how politicians and, you know, our so-called leaders behaved during this time and how people were treated, especially including every single individual who makes up our vulnerable populations. You know, decisions weren't and aren't being made with those people in mind. They're not being made for those people. They're often being made against those people. And it's just continued and perpetual fucking violence and trauma. And that's just too much for anybody to handle, especially these specific groups of people who have already been through so much and already go through so much on a daily basis. On a personal level though, I also don't want things to go back to normal. Like, obviously, yes, I want access to my friends and family back. There are so many babies that were born in the last year who I just want to like squish and kiss, and it's just fucking heartbreaking that I can't be with them. I can't be near them. I don't really have a relationship with them. All of our relationships are suffering, and like, of course, I want to be able to like go out to a restaurant or go to a bar or go to a concert. I would love to go to a concert again. I would love to just be able to go sit in a crowded park and people watch. I want all of those things back for all of us. I might want to go on a vacation somewhere, you know, like I might want to go out on a date. I might want to have some sex. Whatever. I want all of our social opportunities to return to us safely. But what do I not want? I don't want to return to in-person work. This is just my own thought process. I'm a very effective remote worker, in my opinion. But the biggest thing about in-person work, because it's not necessarily being physically present in the studio, it's the commute. Even pre-pandemic, when I was in Toronto and I worked in Toronto, it would take me an hour each way to get to work and go back home. And now that I live outside of the city and still work in the city, it could take me upwards of 2 hours each way, which is like a huge chunk out of my personal time and my personal life consumed by commuting, by sitting on a train that isn't comfortable, that is crowded with people who I don't know and don't necessarily want to know. It's all of this time taken away from me. And sure, I could read, I could watch TV, I could go on social media, but if I'm going to do all of those things, I just want to be able to do them from the comfort of my own home. I don't want to have to do them sitting on a train or on a subway or in a car in traffic. It's so many hours out of my personal life taken away that I was so happy to get back when we started transitioning to remote work. And going back to that kind of commuting is just not something that I want for myself anymore. It's just too high of a cost personally. And honestly, getting that time back was a huge game changer for me. It meant more sleep. It meant more energy, especially energy after work, where all of a sudden I wasn't so bogged down and bone tired at the end of the day, primarily because of my commute home, that like now I have enough energy and zest to work out. I have all of this time and energy to do all of the things that I want to do without having to rush home and it's already dark and I have to do a million little chores and whatever. I don't know, getting that time back, I feel like gave me myself back. And that's such a valuable thing to have gained amidst all of this horror. Again, this experience is completely unique to me and the kind of person that I am and my personality and the very unique way that I handle grief and trauma and loneliness and depression. I know everyone is not like that. I know that this has been exceptionally hard in unfathomable ways for millions of people. But for me, I just really feel like in the past year, in spite of all of those terrible things, in spite of all of those terrible feelings, I actually became the most authentic version of myself to date, except for maybe when I was a little kid and still, you know, wild and weird and wasn't weighed down by all of the external expectations. Anyway, this last year, again, in spite of all of the tragedy and all of the trauma, has been revolutionary for me. It gave me the space and the freedom to kind of really sink into some of the boundaries that I wanted to set for myself. Particularly, I felt more comfortable distancing myself from a lot of the expectations that surround dating and partnerships for a woman my age. And I also just got to sink my teeth into some new projects. The other night, a friend called everything that I've been doing in the last year productivity. And while I don't necessarily disagree with her. I think a lot of what I've been doing and the way I've been doing it is also like manic hyperactivity. And again, that is probably my own personal trauma response. That is the way that I, as an individual, manage my loneliness and my depression and all of the bad shit that I'm experiencing. I'm not a person who does well with stillness, so I fill up every single spare minute of my life with things to do. And sometimes that works out to my benefit. Other times it can be really detrimental, but at least I'm aware of it. I also spent a lot of my time in the last year, like, just trying to work on myself and make myself a better person, and not just a better person for myself, but also a better person in the context of the wider community. And that was, you know, things as small as journaling more and getting more in touch with my own emotions and my own thought process and becoming even more self-aware than I already was. It also meant that, you know, in the summer, when that big call to action with the Black Lives Matter movement happened, I went balls to the wall with educating myself on racial injustices that I wasn't already inherently aware of. And that is something that obviously will continue in perpetuity. Like, that's not something that just stopped at the end of last summer. That's something that I am actively continuing on a daily basis. And it was a catalyst. The catalyst itself was an unfortunate and tragic event, but it was a catalyst nevertheless. And here I am, you know, how many months later? Is that 6, 8 months? I don't know. One of the other things in that respect that I started doing was like taking some of the leftover cash that I had that, you know, in pre-pandemic land, I might have used on a weekly takeout meal. And I started to use that as like my own personal action, and the way that I could act safely, the way that I could engage in the kind of action I wanted to safely was donations. So I actually ended up using some of this leftover money that I had that I normally, not that it was leftover, but money that I normally would have spent on like going out meals pre-pandemic. I was all of a sudden saying, okay, I was already going to spend this money. Let's use that mindset, because that's the way I operate. I was already going to spend this money. So instead of, you know, buying a fancy cocktail or ordering from my favorite sushi bar this week, I'm going to take that $25 and I'm going to donate it. And so every single month since the summer, I have been donating to various organizations, all in support of, you know, Black people, Indigenous people, people of color, everything from mutual aid funds to arts organizations. And that's the way that I could safely engage with this activism. I wasn't going to go out to the marches because I didn't feel safe doing that, but I can sure as hell donate. I can write emails. I can make calls. I can do all of these things from the safety of my home. I guess just this last year kind of allowed me to take everything that I have been feeling and all of the anger I've been harboring about some of these issues for literal years and finally act on them in a very tangible way. And I'm just not sure that any of that would have manifested yet anyways if the past year hadn't happened. There is a lot more that I've done in the last year, but I'm just not going to get into it because we're already probably like 30 minutes deep. I just don't think that any of this would have happened in the old world. Like, it might have eventually, but it probably would have taken some massive tragic event on a global scale. Whether that was a natural disaster or some kind of like nuclear terrorism. I don't know. That sounds awful, but I don't think that this stuff would have happened at the pace that it happened, for me personally at least, without some of these catalysts. And I guess I feel like I need to defend myself just a little bit here, out of guilt. But we've been in such a prolonged state of like fear and terror and trauma and horror and pain and depression and whatever because of how awful everything is. But I also don't want all of, you know, people's individual successes and some of our political successes, because there have been political successes, some of the global successes we've seen, any little bright spot, I don't want that to get lost on account of this horrible shit that's happened. And on a personal level, I don't want all of my bad feelings and all of the external bad crap to overshadow what I've gone through or what I've experienced that's been positive. I don't want any of the good things that have happened to get lost in the fray, you know? And part of that for me is that I'm just really proud of myself. I'm really proud of the person that I've become. I'm really proud of the things that I've accomplished. I'm really proud of the boundaries that I've set and just all of the things that I've done for myself and for the community. But mostly I'm just proud of myself as an individual for just who I am at this moment. That is in large part as a result of what happened last year and what continues to happen this year, because let's be honest, we're in this for the long haul. And just to speak to that, like, am I fucking exhausted? Am I fucking miserable? Yes, like, look at, I think it's probably very obvious in this video how like sunken and puffy and dark my under eyes are. Like, I don't sleep very well. I'm so tired. I am bloody bone tired. But I do also have these really bright moments that I don't want to disregard because of how big some of these other feelings and events are. So in general, I guess what I'm trying to say is that my fear here, and that's ultimately what it is fear. I don't want this like getting back to normal attitude to result in sacrificing this version of myself for that normal, that getting back to normal, or sacrificing all of the lessons that have been handed to us and all of the learnings that have been demanded of us. So I don't want those things to be sacrificed purely for the sake of getting back to normal, because that's just a bunch of bullshit. There's just too much at stake for us to return, for us to go back. Moving forward, yes. Establishing a new normal, yes, but no backwards, because we don't just have a people in crisis, we have a planet in crisis. And if we want a long and prosperous and sustainable life on this planet for all people as a species, we either need to pull up or shut the fuck up and get out of the way for the people who are actually willing to put in the work, you know? All of this is to say that getting back to normal sounds like a fucking terrible idea to me. And maybe part of that has to do with the fact that pre-pandemic, my life was not really normal and it didn't feel normal and it was kind of shit and miserable. And I was going through a lot and had been going through a lot for a really long time, which isn't to say that I'm not going through all of those things now on top of a global pandemic. But why would I want to go back? And obviously, feel free to disagree with me. These are open forums. We should be having conversations. But I think that it's just worth all of us sitting with this idea of getting back to normal and picking that apart and, you know, really figuring out what it is that we ultimately must regain, what we really want to regain. What is it that we really miss? What is it that we really need? What are the things that we absolutely don't want or need anymore? And then hopefully whenever it is that we are able to resume normal life, and we can go back out and hug all of our friends and family again, and we can, you know, hear the sounds of a crowd, and we can return to living our lives the way that we want to live our lives. Hopefully it's with a little bit more joy, hopefully we feel a little bit more grateful, and hopefully we feel a little bit more fulfilled and a little less like zombie robots just playing a role as another cog in this mean fucking machine. Oh my God, that was a lot. But I also have a lot on my mind all of the time, and I am just testing this out as a platform to get some of that out of me and over to you if you wish to participate. But these are important conversations to have though. And unless you really look for it, you're not going to find a lot of that conversation being had in like the mainstream media or mainstream social media. It's very hard right now to extract the genuine sentiment out of people because everyone is just a fucking raw nerve. We're all just full on in survival mode right now. And it's you know, the Groundhog Day effect. Every day is just rinse and repeat of the same bullshit. So like, obviously all of us are just sometimes reduced, or most times reduced, to our worst selves. I am right there with you. I also just have a mind that operates at 150% 24/7. So this is just kind of my natural state of being, to have all of these really ginormous thoughts and feelings. Anyways, in summary, the point is that I don't want to go back to normal. I think going back to normal sounds awful, because ultimately it's going back to nowhere. And on that note, it's time to wrap this shit up. This has been a lot, and if you are still here and you have stuck it out this far with me, thank you so much. To my 3 subscribers now, woohoo, and the other person aside from myself who likes my videos, thank you. Genuinely appreciate you just being there as I figure this out. Let's get back to the skincare. There's only one thing left that I do, and that's eye cream. And my face is still very wet and sticky, by the way, and I'm very warm because I'm talking, and my like heart rate is up and I'm all like nervous and sweaty. So if I look extraordinarily flushed and my eyes look super red, that's just why. And I'm like puffy and whatever. The next product I'm going to use is not technically an eye cream, but that is normally the last kind of step in my skincare routine. I just decided to use whatever I had in my drawer, because are eye creams worth it? I don't know. So this is the One Love Organics Skin Savior, and this is one of my hero products. This is one of the first products I discovered when I started this whole like green/clean beauty adventure. It's wonderful. Again, it smells like oranges and vanilla, and it is a really like dense balm, so this lasts forever. And I am just going to pop my ring finger in there and just rub that together and just add a little bit more around my eyes specifically. And then I just always put the rest of whatever is on my fingers in my eyebrows. And that's it. That is my skincare routine, if you manage to keep up with it until this point. Dual cleanse, a night essence, really thick, juicy, balmy face moisturizer, and then a little bit of eye cream. And I love it. I'm happy with that. Again, like I said at the beginning of this video, I am a skincare adventurer, so I don't always repurchase the same product over and over again, because I like to try all kinds of things. Particularly in the green/clean beauty space. And I buy all of my stuff from either the Detox Market or I'm pretty sure it's the Green Jungle Beauty Shop, which is the one I was talking about that's based out in Montreal. And they specifically just have so many different products to try that like I've never heard of before. So it's fun. And the last thing, and I promise that this is the last thing, I take my contacts out and I put my glasses on. So we're going to do that right now. Okay. That's it. That is how I get unready and settle into bedtime mode. I am going to shut this down. I'm going to go diving into my bed and snuggle up against my mountain of pillows. So without further ado, I think it's time to say ta-ta for now and good night. If you liked any part of this video, please like and subscribe and ring the little bell. It will help me out in the long run if I decide to keep doing this. Thank you guys so much. Bye! So, do you feel completely catfished by that Neutrogena splash video at the very beginning? Tricked ya. This was so much more than a skincare video.